Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my Formula 1 2020 My Career Mode. We are heading this weekend into the Mexican Grand Prix, where hopefully we can have another good result. I can keep hopefully beating Sebastian Vettel in my little rivalry. Just going to obviously set the car up for practice at this moment in time, so we're going to switch back to our previous engine. We're going to save engine 4 obviously for qualifying in the race. Gearbox is okay. I think we do get a new one for this weekend. I believe we get a new race gearbox. Was it this weekend or was it last weekend? I can't remember when I got my new gearbox. Anyway, we're not going to worry about that. We're kind of going to head into the practice session, and I'm going to do my practice programs. Then we're going to go through qualifying, obviously try our best to get a good qualifying result, and then into the race. Obviously, the kind of excitement has kind of dropped off in the series at this point, because obviously we wrapped up and secured the World Drivers' Championship in the previous race in Austin. However, there is still the Constructors' title to seal up and try and secure for Haas. So that is what we're going to look to do. Now, we're going to head into Q3. I've actually kind of skipped a lot of the I'm going to specifically skip a lot of the qualifying. However, I did notice an issue. Since the latest update to the game, the very latest update to the game, which came out this week, there's a bit of a problem where at the end of practice 3, before qualifying, I can't change any of my engine components without it claiming that the car is in parc fermé, and you would incur a penalty for doing so. This, I believe, is a bug. This is a new bug that has appeared in the game since the last update, because parc fermé does not apply until you leave the garage in qualifying. So I should be able to change my engine after practice 3 before heading into qualifying, but the game's not letting me, which is going to make engine management a little bit more tricky going forward. I hope this bug gets fixed quite quickly. I'm also going to obviously try and adapt as many parts as I can. We still have 3 more parts to adapt. I don't have the research points available. Hopefully by the time we've done Brazil and Abu Dhabi, the final 2 races of the year, I will have got all the aero parts adapted for the following season, despite the fact that I still possibly am intending on moving teams at the end of the year, and possibly joining Mercedes. Hopefully, I would like to join Mercedes. I would like them to offer me a contract. I would like to take Valtteri Bottas's seat, because he's not been very good all year for Mercedes, and I quite fancy being in that car for a year and seeing how good it is compared to all the other cars. So yeah, qualifying 1, very disappointed. Grosjean down the bottom of the table. I was managed
best
P4.
lap so far is a 1 minute 14.3.
I had to do 2 laps in Q1, by the way. I didn't have a very good first lap, so I had to do a second lap. But yeah, managed to get P4, so qualified fairly comfortably there. I was having some issues with the car handling a little bit, and unfortunately I can't make any changes. I wanted to change my brake pressure. I don't know why my brake pressure is down at 80%. I'm not sure how I managed to mess that up during practice, but it's not giving me a lot of confidence when I'm standing on the brakes. But I got through Q2 on the medium tyres, which is good, because that gives me the chance to start on the mediums in the race. Sadly, Romain has not joined me in getting out of Q2, which is a bit of a shame. Yet again, my teammate fails to support me. Bottas missed out on getting into Q3 as well. He only managed to finish in 11th. So Bottas not having a good qualifying weekend here in Mexico for Mercedes. Again, hopefully giving me a chance to maybe take a seat, to take a space in that team. But anyway, Q3, let's go out. Let's do a lap of this wonderful circuit. And one of the things I'm definitely going to say straight off the bat is throughout practice, throughout qualifying, one of the things I have not been able to do is find a way to get this car to be very sort of on the nose and pointy, especially in slow speeds. In some of the slow corners on this track, this car really doesn't seem to want to turn and rotate through the corners, and I'm not sure why that is. I haven't been able to work that one out, and it's a bit of a problem, really. Because there are some tight corners on this track and some slow speed corners where you would love to be able to get the car to actually rotate. You know, I don't want to say it's understeer I'm having, but it's just like I'm putting in the rotation with the steering wheel. I'm actually turning the wheel, and the car's just not rotating as much as I think it should do for the amount of input I'm putting in on the wheel, especially like through this stadium section here, the baseball stadium. The car just doesn't rotate well through there, or the steering doesn't seem to be as hypersensitive as it should be. But anyway, I finished Q3 and we finished second place behind Lewis, only by, you know, just over, you know, 10th of a second. So not a lot in it.
Our best lap so far is a 1.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Hamilton, Schumacher and Alexander Albon. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
Both McLarens are in there, both Racing Points, both Red Bulls. Only the one Mercedes, only the one Renault, and only the one AlphaTauri.
First of all, congratulations. You must be thrilled.
I'm okay.
Are you feeling confident
reasonable.
that you can take your qualifying pace into the race?
No reason why not. The car can take it. We're durable. Despite the fact I can't change my engine.
At the moment. What are your thoughts on them? Appreciate your time.
And away we go. So I outqualified Vettel. So that gave me another 2-point lead in the rivalry. That gives me a 5-point advantage, with apparently 3 races remaining. But as we know, there are not 3 races remaining because Vettel's retiring after Abu Dhabi. So he's only got 2 races left. So pretty much I'm going to win that rivalry, I think, by default.
Well done. Very solid results. You're looking good for the race.
I am indeed. And it's also going to be nice weather. No danger of rain, which is nice, because obviously the last couple of weekends we've had some weather issues that have interfered with things. Still can't change engines without taking penalties, which is a bit of a shame. Don't really want to do that. But let's head into the race. That's what we're here for at the end of the day. We don't get paid for practicing. No points are rewarded for free practice.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? We're a long way above sea level here in Mexico today, which could pose some cooling issues for the cars as they make their way around this 2.6-mile lap. 17 corners with top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and watch out for potential overtaking into turns 1 and 4. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about Schumacher. What a season they've had. A well-deserved championship victory, and the pressure now surely off with the title already in the bag.
It really is well-deserved. I wouldn't say it's been a faultless title challenge, but certainly one that has been consistent and well-managed. Here's hoping they let off a bit of steam today and give us an exciting race.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Schumacher completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Verstappen, Sergio Perez, and Stroll, Ricciardo, Gasly, Norris, and Carlos Sainz, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Bottas, Vettel, Leclerc, Nicholas Latifi, and George Russell. Ocon and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Bottas took a penalty. He took a grid penalty as well and got dropped 5 places. So that's definitely worked out even worse for him. Right, today's race strategy. The team want me to do medium, soft, medium. I think I'm going to do medium, hard, soft. With the potential being that I don't actually box for the softs and I just do a one-stop medium to hard if I can make the tyres last. This could be a very bad strategy. Again, I can't adjust the brake pressure, so I can't fix the kind of setup issue that I've created for myself. But let's see how we go. 5 red lights. And away we go. And again, I'm going to get the start because I don't get the wheel spin that the AI always get, because my start procedure is a little bit different to theirs. I tend to keep low revs, get the car moving off the line. Once the car's moving away from the line, then I bury the accelerator. The AI, they try to bury the accelerator the minute the lights go out, and all they do is spin their wheels. So the AI always start badly, so you can always get a jump on the AI in this game. Now I'm going to get done for track limits straight away. Again, just trying to get this car to rotate through some of these slower corners has been a headache all weekend for me. And now at the start of the race on cold tyres with a massive full tank of fuel,
Keep pushing. Let's capitalise on that
it's
first
even
lap.
more noticeable that this car doesn't turn at slow speed. Or it's certainly not turning as much in relation to the amount of steering input I'm putting in. I mean, poor old Michael there, you can see, is working that steering wheel quite hard. You know, rotating it a good, 180 degrees or so, and the car just isn't making the turns through some of the slow sections. And you'll notice that through the whole race. I don't know if any hardware settings have changed with the update. I probably ought to check my controller settings and make sure that like linearity and sensitivity are still set right. Because again, for me personally, I don't know how other people feel when they play this game, but I personally like it, like my steering wheel to be so that when I have to make very minimal changes of direction on the wheel to get big changes in direction in the car in game. I'm not one of these people that wants to, have to, turn the wheel 2 or 3 times to get the car to turn a corner. That doesn't interest me. The smallest amount of rotation on the wheel is what I prefer, because that also means that physically I'm having to do less work, which is great for me with my obviously disabilities. It means I don't get quite so exhausted doing these races. But we've survived.
DRS is being enabled
First
this
2
lap.
laps.
We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
But Lewis is right behind me and he's got DRS. Which, of course, here in Mexico is a bit of a tricky conundrum. Because not only do you get DRS down the long start and finish straight there, but when you get through this little section of the track, you also get DRS down this section
Okay,
as
clear.
well. There's like the 2 DRS zones here with 1 detection point, so you can actually get massively punished. Because the guy behind you has DRS down the start and finish. If he overtakes you down the start and finish straight, he still gets DRS then through that next section, so he can pull away from you. And then there's obviously a separate detection zone for the DRS coming up here in this section, which Lewis is probably going to take advantage of. He's going to pass me. At this moment in time, I'm not too fussed, too worried about that. Lewis is on the softer tyres. He's got more grip. And I'm struggling a little bit at the moment, obviously, with grip. And the weight of the car at the moment with this heavy fuel load. My obviously theory is that Lewis is going to box fairly early in the race on the soft tyres. They're going to run out a lot more before my mediums.
Yellow flag.
Which means hopefully for me, I can get ahead of them again in the pit stop
Be
phase.
aware, there's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
There is an incident in the next part of the track, and that incident is Sebastian Vettel being out of this Grand Prix, which means yet again, for the second race now in a row, Vettel has failed to finish, which means nil point for him in the rivalry, which means potentially I can get another 5-point gain on him. I can stretch my lead by 5 points if everything goes well in this race. Which right now is not happening because I'm not winning and I don't have the fastest lap. So right now I'm only on course for 3 points. I also need to be a bit cautious of Verstappen behind me because he's starting to get a little bit interested in passing my Haas car. He also has the advantage of DRS, whereas I don't currently. So I was outside the DRS at the detect. I'm close enough to Hamilton now, but obviously the detection point was a lot further back than where I was. So sadly, no DRS for me. And I'm just too far. I'm too far back to make any kind of lunge, and especially with my brake pressure, the brake pressure being so bad in this car, for whatever I must have accidentally leant on a button or something when I was going through these and changed it without noticing, because that is bad. So the chances of me doing any kind of Danny Rick style send-its in this race are going to be out the window because I don't have the braking force, the braking pressure to be able to risk braking late. I'm having to brake a little bit early to get the car to slow down. I've got DRS this time on Lewis, which isn't really going to help me much because he's quite a bit ahead heading into turn 1. And then I get DRS again here, but I'm not really gaining like so. Another track limit, gotta watch that. I don't want to be picking up any penalties. But again, struggling to rotate the car again for some of the slow sections. I'm not in DRS range here, so Lewis gets to take advantage there. I am setting a nice purple sector 2 though, which means potentially I could be going for a fast lap here.
Let's use overtake and burn some of this energy.
I've got DRS down here. Lewis moving around on the straight, trying to break the slipstream. Doesn't want to give me too much of a tow. And then now I've got DRS. So now's where I would be thinking about sending it. Ooh. And I just about managed it. I would have felt a lot happier with 100% brake pressure on that manoeuvre, because I did kind of overshoot a little bit. But fortunately Lewis wasn't able to come back round the outside of me. Obviously, some people will say, why was I fighting Lewis so hard and abusing my tyres when I'm actually trying to go longer in the race? Perhaps I should have just let Lewis do his thing and I should have not really forced an overtake.
We're
I should have
leading
just
our
driven
teammate
my
by
race
8.5
to protect my
seconds.
tyres. You're quite right. You're quite right. Those of you saying that, I probably should have done that. Problem is, in the heat of the moment, when you're in the game and you're playing and you're locked in and you're focused, you see a car in front of you, instinct kicks in, all you want to do is overtake it. And I wanted to overtake it. We've had a lot of races in this season of career mode where I
Fuel
haven't had
target
a
is
lot of racing to
+1.
do.
Faster engine modes
Because
are
we
available.
have been out in front a lot of the time by ourselves, empty track, and I've just been turning laps and picking up victories. I'm sure people would prefer to see me in races where I am having to do a bit of wheel to wheel, a bit of overtaking, a bit of defending, that kind of thing. So, you know, I get the opportunity to overtake someone, why not take it and put on a show for you people watching the video? However, what I've got to keep an eye on, obviously, is that Lewis and Max are very close. They're going to have DRS all the way down the start-finish straight. And then, obviously, through that second DRS zone, they're also going to have
We're approaching the
DRS.
pit window. You'll be on the hards.
So there's a good chance they may overtake me again in the next lap or two, but I will have the advantage that they are boxing before me. And then it'll be interesting to see what strategy they go for. Because they obviously qualified on the soft, so are they doing soft, medium soft? That probably won't get them to the end of the race, will it? Seeing as my team offered me medium soft medium as the first strategy. So are they going to do soft medium medium? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. This is where it gets a bit interesting, the different strategies. I wonder if any of the top runners, Lewis, Verstappen, Stroll, Albon, etc., I wonder if any of them might consider the hard tyre and try a one-stop like me. Or whether that's just not in their capability. Having started on the soft, they probably can't. Oh, see, that's a corner I struggle with a little bit. Getting the speed off for that corner. Again, it puts Lewis and Max right in great spot to get DRS through here, especially as I have to lift through those corners. That corner, I have to do a little bit of a lift and a little bit of a brake because I just don't have the natural downforce or the chassis to be able to take that section of the circuit flat, which I think is where Lewis in his Mercedes is quite happy to gain quite a bit of time on me. But I think they're boxing.
Push now. We're boxing this lap.
Yeah, the front men are boxing. So this is where I need to put in some laps now.
Okay, the gap behind is 6.4 seconds.
Stroll is staying out for an extra lap on his softs. He's decided not to pit. And then my teammate Romain Grosjean is there on hard tyres, it looks like. He started the race on the hards. Okay, he's going to be going quite long then. And then we've got Bottas in 4th currently on the softs, followed by Mr. Ocon in the Renault. I would say keep your eye on Grosjean then, because he's the bit of the spanner in the works at the minute. Because obviously he's in the same car as me and he's on the hard tyre, so he's going to be doing quite a long first stint in this race. He could actually be a very useful rear gunner, because obviously all my rivals like Lewis, Verstappen and that are all going to be behind him now, and they're going to have to overtake him, and he could be quite difficult to overtake. So that could be working out very nicely for me on my current strategy. Struggling a little bit again. I mean, tyre wear's not too bad. It's about where I would expect it to be at this stage of the race. I was very slow through there though. And very slow through there. This is not a fast lap. For someone who's supposed to be taking advantage of the opposition pitting, I'm not doing hammer time laps here. Grosjean has moved up to 2nd place because Stroll has boxed. Hamilton, Giovinazzi and Verstappen currently sitting behind him. Giovinazzi, I'm guessing, hasn't stopped either yet in the Alfa Romeo. I'm going to box this lap. Lap 13. So we need a hammer time lap here. I'm just looking at those lap times, you see. 20-second gap to Hamilton. 21 seconds to Verstappen. It's going to be close to getting out in front of them, especially with Hamilton now setting fastest laps.
Hamilton has just put up the fastest lap of the race so far.
I'm going to need to go some. Obviously, we're going to lose track position to Grosjean, which means Grosjean is temporarily going to take over the race lead. And he'll probably lead the race until he comes in for his one single stop, I'm guessing. Interesting to note that Hamilton, Verstappen and Stroll have actually boxed for a 2nd set of softs. So they're going soft, and then I'm gonna guess they're gonna finish the race on the mediums. Right. So they're actually going to be pretty quick. In fact, based on my current pit strategy, they're going to be very quick because I'm about to fit the hard tyres. So they're going to have a two tyre compound advantage on me. So the question is, how much do I really want to be racing on exit of this pit stop? Because they are going to have to stop again because they've not run 2 different compounds. So they're definitely,
we'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
They are definitely stopping again. So if they start to put pressure on me and start to get really close and aggressive, perhaps I should just let them go, let them overtake me, and know that I am going to the end of the race, or trying to. Ooh, tell you what, this car doesn't feel nice on these hard tyres. Feels a bit glassy underfoot, a bit slippy. Oh, awful. I'm not liking this. This doesn't give me great confidence with Lewis right behind me there. Here he comes. Look at that Mercedes. Oh. Ah, he's gone. Tried to defend as best as I could, but I just did not have the grip beneath me. And here comes Max now as well in the Red Bull. You know what?
We're at plus 1 lap of extra fuel. Fuel target +1.
Let's not fight them. Let's just try and keep the car on the road and take comfort in the fact that they are going to be pitting again in this race, whereas I am hopefully not. And let's hope as well that this car comes back to me, because right now I have lost confidence in it a little bit because these hard tyres are not giving me the grip I want. This is like the reverse of Austin. This is like the reverse of Austin. In Austin, the soft tyres were the absolute awful tyres you did not want to be on.
We're trailing our teammate
and I was
by
on those twice and melted
14.7
them,
seconds.
and they were awful. I did 2 stints on the soft tyres and they were definitely the wrong tyres to be on. I've got a feeling here in Mexico the hard tyre is the wrong tyre to be on.
The gap
I think I've
behind us
made the
is
same mistake.
6.9 seconds.
I kind of figured that, you know, Mexico, high speed, very fast. You're gonna want hard tyres to cope with the high speed circuit and the wear. But actually that's not the case, because during the high speed, most of the high speed on this circuit is in straights. It is in the straights, which means the tyres are actually losing temperature the whole time in those straights, which means when you arrive in the corners, in the technically twisty, bendy part of the circuit, you've got no temperature and no grip. And I think that's where I've gone, and that's why I think these guys are doing soft, medium, because they don't want to be on the hard tyres. And Jeff's getting on the radio giving me the hurry up.
The car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap.
He wants me to overtake Verstappen. I'm not sure we can, Jeff. In this phase of the race, I don't think we can overtake Verstappen. It's more important for me just to stay close to them. Keep them in sight, because then we can overtake them when they box. Which I'm guessing they'll be doing in a couple of laps. Because they stopped, what, about lap 10, was it? They pitted lap 10? I came in lap 13. So I'm guessing they're probably going to go to lap 21, 22. Maybe, at most, based on the fact that obviously the tyres they used at the start of the race are also the ones they used in qualifying. So they've probably got 4 laps before they box, so I just need to stay close to them. just need to be able to keep them in sight. Also sounds like the car's bottoming out a lot. Maybe that's just me. I wonder if I've got the ride height wrong. That wouldn't help. If the car bottoms out, is grounding, then that's not going to help me turning through corners, is it? Again, I wonder if I forgot in my car setup in practice to actually make sure we've got an increased ride height.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
Because definitely as we've been adding these aero upgrades to the car over the year, over the course of the season, we're probably getting a little bit more pushed down onto the track. A little bit more compression in the suspension and everything. So potentially, I do need to think about either raising the ride height a little bit more. So when the car does squash down under downforce, it doesn't squash down right into the surface of the track. And also, I need to consider maybe possibly higher tyre pressures, maybe? Again, because you don't want the tyres squashing down too
some
much.
information on Raikkonen. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car. Drop your speed, our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
This could be it then. This could be the moment. Because I'm going to guess Lewis and Verstappen are probably going to dive into the pits here. Under the safety car. It's lap 21, so they're in their pit window anyway. And they're going to fit the mediums. So I've taken over the race lead. I can also now have a few laps just to breathe, recenter myself, which also means that we're definitely not pitting again this race. Our
We're coming
tyres
up
will
to the
now
safety car now. Do not pass
definitely go
it.
to
You
the
are the
end.
leader. Follow the safety car.
Will now definitely go to the end of the race because we're going to be doing a couple of laps behind the safety car, and yes, indeed, we have done a couple of laps under the safety car. It is now
We're
lap
coming up to the
24,
safety car
people.
now. Do not pass it. You are the leader. Follow
So the safety car has been out for 3 laps for basically Raikkonen parking at the side of the track. Just as you exited out onto this straight here, this DRS straight. So he's actually, this safety car's been out for quite a long time, longer than I thought it would be in that situation. Because they seem to recover the car pretty quickly, but he's been out for 2 laps. Since, you know, the car disappeared at the side of the track, and he's been out for 2 laps now. So I wonder if a lot of the field dived into the pits and everybody got spread out, and he's just had to wait until everybody's bunched up again, which is a little bit annoying. But for me, great, because it means I've done more laps in this.
Okay, the safety car is coming in this lap.
Which means my
We'll be
tyres
pacing the
are
field in
gonna
sector
be
3. Make
perfect
sure
to
to
go to the
respect
end
the
of the
delta
race.
until the safety car is in the pit lane.
A little bit concerned though that my teammate, Mr. Grosjean, is right behind me on a set of medium tyres because he did pit under the safety car. He's made his one and only stop of the race. And he's now got second place track position ahead of Hamilton and Verstappen. And he's on mediums. So
Green flag.
there's a good chance that Roman could be a bit of a threat here.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
But right now, obviously, on the restart, it's all going to be very close. Roman's going to have pressure from
Okay,
Hamilton. He's going to have pressure from Verstappen and Ricciardo. I mean, it would be nice for us as a team to finish 1-2. I mean, that would be a great result, especially with where Grosjean started the race. That would be fantastic. And that would definitely probably, I think, clinch us the Constructors' Championship. We're definitely not coming in this lap, Jeff. Forget that. Forget that idea. The good thing is, everybody's kind of dropped back a little bit from me at this moment in time, because they're kind of wrapped up in their own little battles now. Grosjean defending Hamilton, who's defending from Verstappen, so it's given me a little bit of a chance to pull away. So hopefully they can keep squabbling amongst themselves for a few laps and let me build up a bit of a distance.
Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
Oh, almost lost it there, coming out of that corner. Got a bit deep into that corner. Stafford's close. Oh, Grosjean's getting close again. I've kind of opened the door and let them get back into DRS range. I'm also looking at the fuel situation and thinking I can't afford to run rich mix from the full lap every lap. We don't have enough fuel left, so I might have to start conserving it a little bit. Oh! Grosjean just tried to dive down the inside of me there, and I think he's just lost his front wing end plate. I think he just lost his... he just caught my front wheel. And I think he's lost his end plate. His front wing was noticeably missing the vertical section there. He's lucky he didn't puncture my tyre, actually. That's unfortunate for Grosjean, because that means he's probably going to be boxing now at the end of this lap for a new nose cone. Which means, sadly, he's going to get dropped right down the grid. But hey, it's Grosjean's MO. Grosjean loves running into his own teammate, as we've seen in real Formula 1, with the number of times him and Magnussen have come together during their careers. And
be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
The guy doesn't have any racecraft.
Roman is in for his stop.
It's no wonder he and Magnussen are both exiting the sport this year, having been dropped by the team. in real life. So right now, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Bottas is the order. Verstappen's lost out quite a bit. He was obviously second. He was actually second in the race, wasn't he, when he boxed, when the safety car came out. He's actually lost out in that whole safety car period. My car's making a lot of noise now. Definitely sounds like it's bouncing on the surface of the track.
Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
Which is weird, because again, I would have thought now that the fuel tank has got the fuel load's come down, the car's got lighter, I would have thought it wouldn't have been, it would have naturally gained a bit of ride height. Once the weight comes off, it would have lifted up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe the track's just bumpier than I realise. And we are just literally, and maybe the suspension's a bit soft, and I'm just smacking the bottom of the car on the ground a lot more than normally. Like down here, you can
Gap to
definitely
teammate behind is 32.5 seconds.
I'm dragging the plank across the the surface of the track. We'll probably hear it down here too. Not so bad that time. But definitely through this twisty section, you definitely hear a lot of banging. But it's interesting now, we're coming to the end of the race and I'm actually starting to put in fast laps. I'm actually starting to get better now.
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up.
And now these tyres are actually fairly well worn. They're actually feeling quite nice to drive on. Now we've got through that initial we've got all that shiny lacquered layer off the tyres. We kind of actually have now got a bit of grip. So maybe that's helping me pump in some fast laps. Here at the end of the race, now we've got the low fuel load. The car's nice and light. Most of the other cars are going to be, I'm assuming, fuel saving at this point. Possibly. It's the one good thing, we don't have to do a lot of fuel management with my approach to race setups, because I tend to take way more fuel than is needed. I'm not one of these people that underfuels the car and then has to worry about running remix and that. I know there's a lot of YouTubers and stuff that really do try to take the absolute bare minimum fuel into a race. I'm honestly the guy that will quite happily take 3 laps of extra fuel. Just so that I can use the higher engine modes for longer periods and have that performance advantage. But now we've got through the issue of the tyres. Now the fact that basically everybody's like 1 compound different from me. You know, when I was on the hards and everybody was on the softs, the race was a little bit more difficult. But now they're only 1 compound behind me. They're not gaining on me as much. They're not lapping as quick as me. So I think I've Drive to Survive today. Drive to Survive is obviously the Netflix series of Formula 1.
At the moment, the car behind us is lapping faster than us by around 1 second per lap.
The safety car helped again, coming out perfectly for me to save these tyres and guarantee I only needed 1 stop. I didn't need that second pit stop. So obviously I've gained a lot of time through it. Obviously I would have preferred maybe the perhaps in a perfect scenario it would have been great if the pit stop had occurred, the second pit stop window had occurred under normal racing conditions, meaning those guys all pitted whilst the track was under green flags and we was all driving at full speed, because I would have gained quite a bit of time on them. And then if the safety car had come out a couple of laps after that, then it might have been a bit different. I mean, the safety car was always going to bunch the field up, so I wouldn't have had the massive gap to them, but I definitely would have been 20 seconds further up the road had we not had the safety car. But then I probably would be, at this point of the race, desperately struggling for tyres. If I'd had all those laps in green flag racing. Like I say, that safety car was out for what, about 4 laps, which is quite excessive. Especially, as I say, Kimi just basically parked up at the side of the track. He was out of the way.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining.
We have 2 laps of fuel remaining. Good. There's only 1 lap left after this, Jeff.
This is your final lap of the race.
Final lap. There isn't going to be a fast lap on this final lap, but I already have the fastest lap, so hopefully the bonus point will be mine as well. And like I say, 5 points extended over Vettel in the rivalry. I don't know if we can clinch the Constructors' title here. Oh look, they're setting off smoke. We could do, with Hamilton, Bottas and Ricciardo being ahead of Verstappen.
Absolutely awesome. Just amazing. Well done.
Bottas got driver of the day. Unbelievable.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top,
why am I doing donuts again? We already had this celebration last weekend in
new World Drivers Champion.
We had the celebration in Austin.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
And that's unlucky for Grosjean because he's gone from 2nd to 18th.
Today was another great race.
Why did he make that overtake? He tried to dive down the inside of me and he broke his front wing end plate. And as a result, he's ended up giving up points and a potential podium. As far as I'm concerned, his poor racecraft has cost this team potentially a 1-2 here in Mexico. And that's just unforgivable in my eyes.
Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
That's got to be the Flying Finn. Wait, how many Flying Fins have we had now? Anyway, I'm talking about Bottas this time. Just great raw speed. And a good job in traffic as well.
Let's move on to the constructors. The gap between Haas and the rest of the teams is extended yet further. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, Brazil will be next, Crofty. And I'm going to guess... how are we doing in the constructors? We have an 80-point lead. So the constructors title is still technically alive at this point, I think. You know, it's not quite over yet. And obviously, plus 5 points over Vettel in the rivalry gives me a 10-point lead. He's done. He's done and dusted, folks. Stick a fork in him, kids. Stick a fork in him, he's done. He ain't coming back from that. Right, we're going to advance time a little bit up to obviously the Brazilian Grand Prix. A turbo is going to be developed. Apparently, we've got another part, a turbo part coming in.
Our new parts have been completed with
turbo size.
They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Very nice. Have we got enough points to develop any more of our aero parts? Can we... yes, we can do that one. Redesign brake ducts. We don't have enough research points now for the last two. So we will have to do those after Brazil. After we've got the research points from Brazil, we will get those two parts updated. I'm going to switch to engine 4 ahead of the race, just in case I get the bug where I can't change my engine after practice 3. So we might use engine 4 for practice, quali and the race here this weekend, just to try and balance things out a little bit. And we'll put practice gearbox 3 in the car. So yeah, America and Mexico, good results, good races for the team, and we'll head to Brazil for round 21 of this 22 race season. Obviously, for season 3, I'm going to be changing the race calendar. I'm going to be shortening the season up a bit. Haven't decided yet how many races I'm going to drop off the season and how many tracks we're going to lose. Again, that's going to really depend on how I feel over these last 2 races, and also how the views and analytics and stuff look on the videos on YouTube. Depending on how many likes these last couple of videos get and how many views they get, that will determine how many races I plan to do next season. So thank you everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I will see you all again for the next one very soon. Goodbye for now.